Ajo api san aviyatma Bhutanam Ishvaro api san Bhutanam Ishvaro api san Prakritim swam adhishtaya Prakritim swam adhishtaya Sambhavami atmayaya Sambhavami atmayaya. Though I am unborn and myself is imperishable, though I am the Lord of all creatures, yet establishing myself in my own nature, I come into empiric being through my power, māyā. Both liberated and bound souls can get reborn, but what is the difference between the two? There are two ways in which one can get born. The first is through one's wish when one is liberated. Shri Krishna is an example of this. He is free from the bondage of karmas. The second is through bondage and dependence. The first is through one's wish, and the second is through bondage and dependence. Such a one is called Bhada. Arjun is an example of this. We are all in this category, but Arjun is our representative. What is the difference between these two? In the Shankar Bhashya, Srimad Adi Shankaracharya has said it very nicely that Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Svabhav means that when a person is free from the bondage of karmas, he can be reborn. So 6 things are needed for this, and they're highlighted in this verse. First of all, it says, I am unborn. The Supreme Being is unborn. He is liberated. The soul is liberated. One who attains his soul, who is awake to his soul, becomes unborn. The soul is unborn. Another word for unborn is prerak, which means inspiring or leader. It said very nicely in the Vedic mantras that Prajapati Parishari Garbha Ante Jaya Manoba Bhuva Vijayate Tiraya Tasya Yonim Prapishante Tirasmatim Atashu Bhuvanati Vishwa, meaning the leader of people moves around in the womb and is unborn but can be born in many ways. He who is intelligent is a place to live for the Creator, sees everything beforehand, and all the worlds in the universe reside in him. Therefore, the soul is unborn. He who is dependent is in bondage. Such a person gets born and also dies, whereas a liberated person is unborn. The second quality, says here in the first line, says is imperishable and indestructible. In the Shankar Bhashya, Srimad Adi Shankaracharya says, Akshinat Nayak Shakti Svabhavaya, means its strength of wisdom can never be destroyed. When we become aware, then we can experience this magic of the soul. This is when the person realizes that he is a soul. He realizes how imperishable and indestructible he is. The third quality of the soul means Aditi iti Atma, meaning that which is persistently moving is a soul. That which is steady yet is always moving is a soul. In the Isha Upanishad, it is said, Tade chati, tane chati, tadure tadavanti, meaning it is steady, but it is faster than the mind. It is our experience that the mind moves very fast. We could be seated at a discourse like this, but the mind may be at home. You do not need to take a lift down or go back to the car in order to go home. You can just jump there in your mind and come back. The mind's movements are very big. The soul moves even more than the mind. The soul moves a lot, yet it has no fixed place to stay. The soul also gives inspiration to everyone. Such a person can be liberated. The fourth quality of the Supreme Being, it says, is a Lord of all creatures. The second line, Lord of all creatures. One name for God in Sanskrit, Ishvara, can be broken down to Ish, meaning Lord or owner, and Vara, meaning great. Ishvara, Ish, owner, Vara, great. Therefore, God is the greatest owner of all creatures. Fifth quality, says here, yet establishing myself in my own nature. It's establishing one's own nature, meaning that someone controls their own nature. Only when a person that controls their own nature can choose how they are born. A person that is slave to their own nature cannot choose how they will be born. The liberated one is the owner, and the owner is a liberated one. The servant is not liberated, the owner is liberated. One can become an owner of their own nature only if they can control it. One can only become an owner if they're in control. If one is paying a driver their wages when they sit in the car and the driver is giving them instructions on where to go, then how can this person be the boss? The boss that tells the driver where to go is a true boss. Therefore, a person established in one's own nature must control his own nature. You can only control your nature when you truly know about it. The boss will interview the driver before giving him the job. When the boss asks the driver all sorts of questions, he does so in order to understand him properly. Only then can he be the driver's boss. Until you know the person, you cannot be his boss. Only one who understands his own nature can control his own nature. How can one control their own nature? When they observe their own nature. Prakritim swama dishya. When they introspect which thoughts come into them, which feelings are born in them, and what they're like as a person. When a person does this, then slowly and slowly he becomes his own owner. Some people get angry and do not even know they've got angry. They go on a rant for 15 minutes and then they realize they just got angry. But a person that introspects asks themselves why they got angry. They found out the reason. It may have taken 15 minutes for them to realize that they got angry for the first time round, but next time they will know in 10 minutes and will stop getting angry. They'll stop after 5 minutes, and then 2 minutes, and then 1 minute, then stop completely. They've completely controlled their natures. They know the situations in which they get angry. They realize that they do not like it. They keep introspecting and then reach a stage when they control their anger before it comes. Anger is just an example. It could be cravings, it could be greed, and so on. When you know the root of these feelings, then you can control them. You cannot control them if they have been let out. You should know about their seeds. A knowledgeable person realizes that he does not like the situation, and therefore he stops the situation before it blows up, or he keeps a distance from it. Only then does anger come under one's control. One can only do this when he introspects. One who introspects his own nature and his actions can become the boss of his own nature. Okay, sixth quality. It says, I come into empiric being through my power, māyā. The sixth quality is coming into empiric being through one's own power, māyā. God tells illusion that he wants to take birth. He is the owner of illusion. Such a person is liberated. Most people get reborn because of bondages as they identify themselves with their physical body. You have the choice to control your physical body. When a person is born, he does not think that he is a physical body, but as one gets older, then they identify themselves with this physical body. That is when their life really starts, because before they didn't think they were the physical body and the years just pass. But this physical body gets born properly when one identifies themselves with it. Then one thinks that he's getting older, growing, deteriorating, and in the end, dying. Because the body passes away, the person thinks that he also dies. He doesn't consider himself unborn. He considers himself as someone that got born. When someone thinks that he gets born, then he also has to die as well. Only a person that considers themselves unborn can understand that they are immortal. A condition of immortality is that one should be unborn. A body that has a name will die. Therefore, a person that thinks that he is unborn will never die. It is only the physical body that is born. The soul can never be born. The root person thinks that he has taken birth, and that is why he thinks that he can die. Such a person acts according to nature and what the situation dictates. Shri Krishna is Swam Prakriti Mam Ishtaya, meaning he is the owner of his nature, whereas a person who identifies himself with the body is tied to nature and in bondage. This is like when a string in India, it comes out of a bull and he has to keep pulling it. In the same way, a person who has bondage has to keep working, keep getting pulled by that string. He has no control over the fact that he will be reborn according to his karmas. A person who has liberated has this independence. Both the liberated person and person in the bondage can come into the material world and live in houses of cement and concrete and bricks like us, but there are differences between the two. Pandit Srimad Damodar Satwakarji has given a very good example to demonstrate the difference. Imagine that there is a jail in a king's palace, and criminals are being locked up there. There are jailers to look after the criminals. There is also staff in the jail, for example, to make the cooking, to do the cleaning, and so on. The king sometimes feels like going down to the jail to find out what's going on. You see that when you observe a minister's portfolio, then they always have a section on prisons. They have to take care about them. So the king wants to find out what's going on in the prisons, and he takes a few ministers with him and to observe the prisons. Now, when the king visits the jails, then you can say that the king has come to the jails. The criminals are standing there as well. Therefore, the kings and the criminals are both in the jail. And geographically, they're both in that place. But internally, there's a very big difference between the two. The criminal has come to jail, serving the sentence, and is bound, whereas the king is free. The king has come there on his own will. He will also leave when he wishes. In the same way, when the Supreme Being comes into the world as an incarnation, then he lives in the material world and acts as any person would have, such as eating, sleeping, and working, but there's a very big difference between the Supreme Being here and any common person. If you look at the lives of incarnations, then you see that there's a lot of similarities with our lives. We are born, Shri Krishna was born. There was a celebration when we were born, and when Shri Krishna was born, there were the celebrations of Nand Mahotsav. When we were children, then we may have eaten mud. Shri Krishna also ate mud. I'm deliberately saying that he ate mud. I'm not saying Mukusam Vasalam Leela, because a lot of children eat mud. Therefore, incarnations of the Supreme Being just do as we do, but there's a very big difference. The king goes to the prison out of his own will. The criminal has not come there to the prison of his own will. Nobody says that they feel like staying in the prison cell for a few years. The person asks the jailer if the jailer can lock him up in the prison. The jailer says no, but then tells them that if they do good karmas, they can get locked up. Nobody gets locked up without a reason. And the criminals do not get to come out without their own will. Therefore, they have no right to come into the prison and no right to get out of the prison. On the other hand, Shri Krishna has the right to come to the prison and also to go away from the prison. Shri Krishna says that he can get born out of his own wish and that this birth is not a punishment for him. There is no way one can be in a punishment if he does come out of his own will. When does this God come? If God has everything in his hands and can choose when he gets born, then when does he come? Every devotee asks for God to come. In the next class, Shri Krishna gives the answer of why an incarnation comes into the earth. We're going to discuss the 5 reasons why an incarnation comes into the world. There's a very big misunderstanding amongst people that incarnations only come when the world goes bad. That's setting a wrong example, because if incarnations come when the world goes bad, we should all do bad so God can come. No. God doesn't come for bad people, he comes from his devotees. He comes from Mirabai, he comes from Narsi Mehta, he comes from Shabri, he comes from Kevat, he comes for his devotees. And not for, he doesn't come when it's bad, he comes when his devotees cry out to him. The other thing we're going to answer, question all of us have. We have nuclear weapons in this age. Right now we have nuclear weapons. Why then, in 12,000 years' time in our scriptures, does it say that Lord Kalki is going to come with a sword and a horse? Albert Einstein, who read the Gita every morning, is going to answer this question in the next class. Kalki Avatar is not going to come in a spaceship, he's going to come in a sword and a horse, and I'm going to prove it in the next class. In fact, Albert Einstein will prove it. That's the end of the next class. We have 6 classes more on chapter 4. Thank you.